All right, and we are live. All right, cool. Want to welcome everybody who is with us here live today. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, and we're going to do a little market update here. And here again with Mark McKenna. Oh, hold
Hey,
on a second.
Jeff, how are you?
Good, Mark. Good, good, good. All right, cool. Hold on a second. I'm just removing one of our places we were trying to post to. It wasn't working. All right, cool. So, yeah, it's been about a week and a half or so since we last talked, and obviously a lot of changes in the environment. Things are starting to open up. I think people are starting to get out there. People are getting antsy. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing.
Well, a couple things. In our world, we opened up full time again. We modified some hours. We're open 9 to 5, so we're running at full schedule. Staff is back in here. We're practicing safe measures. The office is getting disinfected. We're keeping our distance in the office. The majority of our people all work in cubicles that are, bigger than 6 foot apart. So that makes the whole practice easier. The one thing that I am amazed every day is the amount of people that we're getting that are moving from North Jersey, Brooklyn, the Bronx, New York City, Staten Island, Philadelphia. Um, it's kind of comical when someone sees a backyard that's green grass because everything looks so nice, and it's like they're looking at the Malibu beach in California, like, oh my God, will you look at this yard?
Yeah.
Because they don't have it. They've been so cooped up in where they've been living. You got two people who work from home with a kid and a dog in a 1,000 square foot unit, and they just can't do it anymore. And they realize, South Jersey, with great schools and reasonable priced homes is a bargain. It's
Yeah.
just a real bargain. And I've been saying that for years. So, like we were talking before we got on the call,
Hmm.
I had a property this weekend I put up for sale. I had 17 showings in 2 days. So that'll give you an
Wow.
idea. 4 offers. I wrote 2 offers on Friday for buyers I was working with. Both were full price offers. Both agents had multiple offers. They said best and final by Monday at 2 o'clock.
Wow.
So, part of the thing that I want to talk about on this call is strategies for, buyers entering this market. Okay. I
Hmm.
think that's real important. And, the main thing goes back to you. The first thing that these buyers need to do is you need to make yourself as strong as possible when you go out looking for houses. You have to have, going through that underwriting process with your group, it gives them an advantage.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You need to shine. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two, with this competitive market, I think it's real important. If you don't need the closing costs, do not ask for it. Okay. Because when you have 3 other offers and they're not all asking for concessions, you're going to be on the back burner. I can tell you right now.
Hmm.
So, I mean, and you, I was a question for you. Can you, if you're not, rates are so low, you can do some or some buyer credits, correct? If you bump rate a little bit to make their closing costs
Sure.
less. Hmm.
We could do that. I was going to ask you, if a borrower is strong and they've been underwritten though, and they need that seller concession, as long as your seller is still netting the same number, do you think that automatically looks them as not being as strong?
Depends how many offers on a property. I mean,
Okay.
if there's one or two, it's
Yeah.
not the end of the world. I mean, I have some places that have 6, 7 offers on them.
Wow.
So that's the issue. A
Yeah.
friend of mine lives across the street from this property that just came up, and he knew I had an offer on it. He's like, Mark, there was people in that house all day. It was a revolving door
Wow.
Saturday and Sunday. So, and it's not just the 2 to 350 price point.
Yeah.
I've seen real big burst in that 4 to 550 price point. There's hardly any inventory out there. The staple communities in that Marlton, Medford, and Marlton market, they're flying off the shelf. And then I've seen a nice push in our, in our 6 to 750. I had a house last week in Medford put up for sale, listed at 650, got multiple bids. I sold it for 675.
Wow.
My
Nice.
seller was super happy. It was on the market for a little bit. Appraisal came in. I was a little concerned about that.
Mhm.
But value came in. So, I can't stress it enough. And when you look at these houses, okay, you have to understand when you go out and look at something, you need to make a decision that day or forget about the property.
Gotcha.
Because it's not going to be there when you come back. All right.
Are most of the properties that you're seeing that are getting the offers and the ones that are moving, are they vacant properties, or are you seeing these with people that are living there? I mean, what's the overall consensus there? Because I've kind of seen it all over the place.
Well, it's a mix. I would say about 30% are vacant, but I think people have, really come to grips with, we're kind of getting through this process a little bit. When I show houses, I wear a mask. I'm not a firm believer in the gloves because I think you get more stuff on your gloves. I just keep sanitizer in my car and I wash my hands like 25 times a day. So, we have a form letter for our sellers that we put on the front door, instructions with the agents. Please do not touch light switches. Closet doors will be open. You leave everything open. And the only thing the agent is really touching is the front door and the back door. So they know exactly, what to disinfect when they go back in. But, the thing with the sellers are, they're not having their houses up for 2 months.
Yeah.
Typically, your house is selling. There's a couple properties that are taking a little bit longer to sell. It could be a couple different scenarios why they're not selling. But we just had a meeting. I got 10 new properties coming in over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're prepping, getting ready, and I told my staff, I go, what the best part is? 90% of this inventory will sell within 30 days.
Wow.
So because we have been unable to list at the pace that we usually do, because people are nervous about coming into their kitchens and that I'm going to spread the virus or vice versa. So, but I think, with things, I think this weekend's going to give some people some more sense of normalcy with the holiday, the shore opening up. So I think that'll kind of bring some things back. So, just my thoughts. And how have you seen apps and what's going on? Have you been busy with that?
Yeah, it's been nonstop. Same thing. I mean, different areas. Everywhere is kind of hot, except for obviously our friends over in PA. Other than that, there's nothing in South Jersey. It's not.
That's a crime.
It is
an absolute crime.
It is.
That's not open. I mean, people need housing. I mean, the backlog of problems between tenants who want to get out, landlords who want you out. It's amazing.
What poor people who sold.
If I was over there, I would be in jail. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, Wolf is not making himself any friends. Let's put it that way, right?
No.
Unbelievable. But
I mean, real quick, we have put under contract 44 homes since March 16th.
Wow.
Okay. And it's probably that 44 home. It's probably about close to 18 and $19 million in volume.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. So most people, that's a great year.
Yeah.
So that was our pandemic run.
Yeah.
44 deals. So, and I don't see it slowing up. I think this influx is going to continue, and rates, they're flat. They're sitting there in the low threes.
Yeah. Yep.
So the one thing I would say that I have seen a lot of, I think, for sellers, and this is not a plug for me, but it's kind of a plug for me. Please list your house with experienced agents. Yeah. People who know the market, people who are going to do the right thing. We saw pictures today of this property, okay, that came up for sale in Martin townhouse. The front picture has the seller in the front picking up trash with a trash bag. The first picture. Picture number 5, the agent was so lazy, they took a picture of the backyard and they didn't open the screen door. So
Yeah.
the picture was through the screen. I mean, please, please do yourself. It's a major injustice. It's criminal. It's malpractice. I see sellers leaving $25,000, $30,000 on the table because their agent is so afraid and doesn't know what the market's doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's criminal. It's criminal. No.
It's not fair. And honestly, I think maybe it's because of what you said earlier, that things are moving so fast that these agents feel like they can get away with it. And I think that's not fair to the seller and who you're representing. So I would agree with you on that 100%. You know,
make sure your agent knows that market, knows what's happening out there, and really is, if someone comes in and and is just down, negative, they haven't left their house for 60 days, and all they do is watch the news. Okay?
Sure.
That's not the reality of what's happening out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it's taken a pandemic for people to realize South Jersey's a bargain.
Sure.
Okay. And that's the reality of it. You know, the towns, the Medfords, the Marltons, the Mount Laurels, the Morsetowns, the Voorhees, Cherry Hill, with their school districts that they are in, they are such a great value. And finally, people are seeing it. And with, we did a little post, Jerome, we did talk about, private school in the city, living in an apartment compared to going to Shawnee, Cherokee, Lenape, and paying taxes of $15,000.
Yeah.
Okay. You think your quality of life's going to be a little bit better in the suburbs, along with your pocketbook, because you're not paying that city wage tax,
Sure.
and you're not paying $22,000 to go to private school. So.
Yeah, and the space alone, I mean, we're seeing it, on our end. I mean, even for people who don't want to move right now, what we're also seeing is a lot of people that are renovating and adding additional space right now. Right. They're adding on we got one going to Medford right now. The guy's putting on a whole second level. We got other ones where they're just adding, an in-law suite, or they're just expanding because they realize that this environment hasn't given them the opportunity to have enough space for where they are. So one of our renovation loans has been really helpful for them. And eventually they'll probably go and sell, and they'll list and look for something else. But, for right now, some people who are staying in place are doing so, but expanding what they have.
Well, think about what's happening in the city too. We talk about how people are just cramped in there. But I think that during the pandemic, people realized they don't have to be in the office 5 days a week.
Right.
Okay. I mean, look how productive you have been at your house. Okay. Yeah. You haven't missed the beat. A closing we had Friday was smooth as could be. Yep. Everybody was happy. So, so these people are like, all right, why am I paying $6,000, $7,000 to rent this place? And I only have to be in the office 2 days a week. Yeah. I'll put up the commute 2 days a week and drive home and have a beautiful backyard where we can run around. My friends can come over and entertain and do that. That's what they're doing. They're finally realizing it. It's amazing though how chic and sexy Center City was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, and now it's like, it's so sad. I watched the news last night. Restaurants are just closing left and right in the city. And that's the big lure and the fun part. It's
a shame. It's
criminal.
Well, that brings us to something I wanted to bring up too. When we're looking at inventory, everybody kind of asked us before, well, what's this going to look like? And the last time it was something like this, it was 08, 09, and values dropped, and we weren't really, we were concerned about where properties were going and how people are going to afford them. Well, the market's changed, right? So those people in that time frame, they lost value because it was a bubble and it exploded, right? This is not that. This is something completely different. And
totally.
One of the things that we were chatting about was, there's certain people that are going to have to make changes in their life, and it's not all for bad. It's not because they may have had changes to their job. They may have had things have to be readjusted, and as such, they may be looking to sell, but it's not selling out of necessity in the fact of where they were underwater and it's going to be a ton of short sales like it was back in 08, 09, and 2010. This is going to be an opportunity where people still have equity in their property to be able to make changes and be able to list and be able to readjust the life schedule and lifestyle that they once lived. Would you agree with that?
Totally. I mean, there's some people who, might have lost a job that, I shouldn't say some. There's quite a bit. However, like I was on a listing appointment yesterday, and the guy's like, "Well, we have a place in Florida, so this might accelerate our move to Florida. So maybe we'll put the house up over next year, the year after, own the house free and clear. Realistic on pricing. So we'll put the property up, and it's going to sell. There's no stress because the inventory is light, and people, they're in a desirable spot. So totally different compare. If back in 2009, 10, 11, we had a 2-year supply of inventory.
Yeah.
Okay. We're under 3 months.
Yeah.
Until the inventory level gets over 9, 10 months, which I don't see happening very quick soon at all.
Sure.
I usually list 7, 8 houses a week this time of year.
Yep.
I've been trickling 3 houses, maybe 4. I'm listing 3 or 4. I'm putting 5 or 6 out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not just me. I mean, I run everybody's numbers on a weekly basis. I know what my competition's doing, what the market's doing. So that's not going to change. Yeah. And until that does, you're not going to see a slow up. I mean, the appreciation that I see out there is probably is the highest clip I've seen. I'm going to go back to probably 04, 05.
Gotcha.
And because you're getting people who, $10,000, what's that cost you right now? $38 a month?
Yeah, exactly. It's cheap. Yeah. Super cheap.
So, and they're like, screw it. I want this house. It's 10, I'm like, well, you got to worry about the appraisal. And then I get some people are waiving their appraisal contingencies.
Yeah.
Because they want that house. It's got the pool. They wanted to put the pool in. It's, it's $90,000 to put a really nice pool in right now. So let's just pay a little extra.
Yeah.
And eat it. So,
well, and to your point, even with the appreciation, we're still seeing a high level of properties and deals that are getting property inspection waivers.
Right.
Even with the increases, and those increases, for people out there, when you get a property inspection waiver, what that basically comes down to is Fannie and Freddie, they have a backlog of data from the last few years of property values. So what they're saying is that they have enough information based upon in the systems that they have to be able to do a property inspection waiver. So even as we're seeing these increases and with the appreciation that you're seeing, Fannie Freddie are modeling that in. So they're understanding that that's what's happening, and they are thus adjusting it and allowing for a PIW or a property inspection waiver. So it's actually speeding up the process, and it's allowing for that appreciation, and doesn't always have to fall back on the appraiser to make that increase either, which is good. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems to be everything. We had some bumps and hurdles the first 2 weeks, and once we got things moving. I have to tell you, and I say this on every call, the title companies have been amazing. I mean, the title clerks. I had a closing yesterday. The person wouldn't get out of the car. They were in the parking lot doing the closing. So that whole part of dynamic out there, to me, that they're frontliners, just like the grocery store employees, little step below the nurses and doctors out there, but doing a phenomenal job. So
yeah, they really are. They've stepped up. I would be remiss if I were to say that I wasn't concerned about that when we first got started, what that was going to look like, and amazingly enough, they literally have just revamped everything, and they've made it work. I mean, and that's amazing. That's a real true testament to them and the fact that they are on the front lines, because they're right there with people.
Yeah, and I think the process overall has improved from this. Yeah. Again, not to sound like that I'm the most cutting edge guy in the world, but our sellers haven't been going to closings for 18 months, 2 years. And now everybody's realizing, well, I don't have to be there. I'm like, no, you don't have to be there. You have if you do all your work ahead of time, you'll be in good shape. So that's what we say.
Yeah, and that's the same thing we talked about on multiple calls at this point. I mean, it's efficiency. The efficiency of getting this stuff done, and the efficiency of not spending hours at a closing table and getting things done. Like, things can be done quickly with efficiency, and you get in and you get out, and that's important.
Well, now if you have a settlement that's more than 50 minutes, you get a little ornery. You're like, what are we doing here? What's going on? I've got 9,000 things to do. So that's all good.
Yeah, it's true. Cool. So I mean, what do you think the holiday in the summer? I mean, here's what I've heard. One of the things I've kind of been hearing right now is everybody's kind of saying the summer's going to keep going, kind of I don't want to say a lull, but it's not going to be as much gangbusters as we thought, like right out of the gate. But I've heard people who've made the comments that September through the end of the year are going to be the busiest that we've literally ever seen. Do you think that's a true statement, being the fact that people are going to get used to the norm and be ready to start listing, and they might just still be a little bit of hesitation for right now?
I don't see this thing slowing down at all.
Okay.
If you're, I will tell you though, you really have to, you're, as an agent, you're working extremely hard. You're doing things, it might take an extra 3 or 4 steps along the way. And that's your pre-qualification's a lot better.
Yep.
Your communication with the agents who are showing the properties are a lot better, because you want to make sure, when these houses are occupied, that they're bringing people who are ready to make a decision,
Yep.
ready to go. So those things are a lot better. I think some people know that you can't bring contingent offers into the market because how competitive it is, so that they're trying to be, again, getting prepped to make sure they do the right steps before they put their house on the market. If inventory stays in that 2 to 5 month category and I don't see rates going anywhere. I mean, I don't see that happening for a solid year. The more I read, it talks about how housing is going to save this economy. I mean, that's the main driver on what's going to happen out there. So that really helps us all the way around. And I mean, my daughter's been working for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making her buy a place in the fall. She's got a year under her belt. We were talking about yesterday. So you need to buy a house.
Yeah.
You save your money. You can live at home as long as you want. Buy a rental. Buy something.
Sure.
You never see this opportunity ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's she got right into the fire, right? I mean, she came in to work and right into a pandemic.
Yeah, she passed her nursing boards in July. She got hired in August. She got 3 months of training, and then she's right into the pandemic. But with her conversation, so her hospital is starting to really slow down.
Yeah.
I can tell by her stress levels when she comes in the door.
That's good.
They closed 1 or 2 COVID floors at her hospital, so she's still working. So they're starting to see some sense of normalcy. There's not the hysteria every day at the hospital. There's still people coming in sick. I mean, no two ways about it.
Sure.
But it's it seems like it's on a much better road to recovery. That we flatten that curve from what you hear all over.
Yeah.
But those kind of that makes me feel a lot better. And when you talk to some physicians, and they kind of say the same thing too. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everything's starting to open up. I mean, even our golf courses are now going to. You can go back to foursomes.
Oh, they did allow that? I didn't know that. They're back to foursomes
starting Friday. Yeah. So that's there you go. That's how you know we broke it open.
So they're back to foursomes, but is it 4 carts or 2 carts?
Yeah, 4. You can.
4 carts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Hey, just shows that things are moving. You need to see the little things day by day that's being opened up, and the governor is starting to allow is definitely a move in the right direction. So that's definitely good for sure. Cool, man. What other little tidbits can you give to anybody who might be out there right now, who might be thinking about listing, or who's on the fence about buying? I mean, what kind of tip? Give us a couple tips to work off of.
I think that you've had in the last 2 months, I think I've cleaned every closet along with my wife. Your house, if you're thinking about selling, your house looks great. The grass is green as could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is the perfect time as a seller to put your house on the market. I mean, there couldn't be any more of a perfect storm for you to get your house up for sale.
Right.
So, and like I said, we have about 10 or 12 that are coming up in the next 2 weeks. And it is just, you're going to maximize your value. You're going to get people who want to buy houses,
Yep.
okay, and aren't going to nitpick you on these home inspections and torture you. And if they do, you go to the next one. You put it back up. I had that happen this week. We finally walked away from a deal. The buyer was driving us crazy. We put it back on the market. I got 5,000 more. As
Wow.
is, we'll take it. There you go. And they were like, great. So it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that is the key time. And make sure you're dealing with somebody who knows what they're doing. Make sure the photography is perfect.
Right.
Make sure the house is staged right. Declutter, get it ready. It's going to make you money. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these half-hearted attempts to list properties is it's almost a form. I consider it, bad pictures and not telling your seller what to do is a form of malpractice, in my opinion. And it is so bad.
Yeah. It's true.
So and as a buyer, okay, we talked about, make sure you're really focused in on what areas you want to be. Make yourself accessible. When a house comes up, don't say I can get there in 3 days, because if that's the case, that won't be there.
Yeah.
Okay. And make sure you go through the pre-qual process, and as far as you can go, just like something that you do on your program.
Yep.
And it makes the whole process easier. We had a buyer consult the other day. We'll sit down with people and we'll take them through the process, start to finish. So there's no surprises through the transaction. Okay. So again, that's the difference when you go with somebody who's experienced, who can explain what's happening. So there's no surprises along the way. So
Yeah.
that would be my advice. I think we're going to have our goal for June is we want to close 30 units, listings, and buyer deals.
Nice.
So I think that's real obtainable. Right now, year to date, just to give you an idea, I think we're at 119 either pending or closed for the year. So
Wow.
we are right on pace for our goal of 280 units and like 90 million in volume. So that's right there. So that'll give you an idea of what's going to happen.
So this pandemic really hasn't slowed you down, really. I mean, it has, but it hasn't. I mean, it's keeping you still on pace. You obviously be further along, but overall, you're still on pace for your goals.
What it's done is it's brought people who have not wasted a lot of time, because people who need to sell and need to buy are putting their houses on.
Yeah.
So it's really narrowed down. And usually in the spring market, you get the family who's we're ready, and then we're not ready. So those people have since disappeared. There's been different challenges, with no doubt. I've had some rough days.
Yeah.
So it was nice being here in the office by yourself. If you have a really rough day at 5 o'clock, you can actually have a sip of tequila if you need it. But yeah, we are so blessed that we're open.
Yeah.
We're allowed to work. And I have an amazing group that I consider fearless, who is out there. I have some agents who put 10, 12 deals together from post March 16th. I mean, that's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, well, it's good.
It's a testament. I mean, I think a lot of things that we found out of this whole thing is the people, some people are going to adapt and really take advantage of it. And then you got others that are going to crawl up into a ball and disappear. And, I think you guys obviously taking the steps that you've taken. I think, us, the way we've done our business and taking our steps, I think we've positioned ourselves well to come out of this and be stronger. And now we know some of us can work from home, and we can do things that we didn't think we'd be able to do before. And, it's a good opportunity, I think.
Stronger. And, the other thing is you're leaner on how you're working. So you realize there's some things that you thought you needed that you really don't.
Right.
So you're working smarter, leaner. And, like I come home earlier, and if I do have to do some work, I'll go in the basement and hang out and do my thing. But it was it was a good learning process. I'm looking forward to everybody getting back to normal. I know there's a lot of people out there who still need some help.
Yeah.
And, I think that, as we consistently get warmer, like we're doing, I think there's going to be some major pushes on our local government to really get everything back and going, to try to be as normal as possible.
Nice.
So,
Yeah,
and real quick,
yeah.
the forum that you brought to me with doing this, I think has been amazing. I think, I mean, the text and the calls and, what we get afterwards, it's like people are like, wow, that's nice to hear. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And, you're the way you've moderated and done the calls and from question and answer. That was all your idea. That was amazing. You came to me that first week when we did the call with Sam and Eileen. I thought that was great. And just kind of, and the one thing I will tell you, there's I guess it's a compliment to you and I, but a lot of people kind of copied the model, and in our industry, it's all good. We love you. Everybody wants to learn from the best, so we say thanks for that. I had a couple people even take our hashtags that we've used. You're welcome again. I didn't have a copyright on the hashtag feed the front line. I should have, but all those things but testament to you for thinking outside the box, trying to be positive to people. I think that's all great. All good stuff.
It's been good. It definitely. I think it's been a great forum. I think we've gotten a lot of great feedback. I think one of the things that we'd like to do is just try to bring some expertise, to these events, and I think we continue to do it. I mean, just because this thing's changing, it's just like anything. Everything always evolves. So as we continue to change, I think we can bring some people back on. Having Ben on was a good good opportunity from an attorney's perspective, and I think maybe we get some title people as they start to get some normalcy and they're able to. Maybe great to bring them on, so we can bring some other people on. And create it. But we also got you did mention about people from New York and North Jersey coming south. Somebody had asked here, Chantel had asked, where are the sellers moving to? Same area, more space, shore area? Do you know? What do you see, Mark?
It's a combination. A lot of people have second homes, so you're going to see, that empty nester that they might have a place in Florida. I get a lot of people who are moving down the shore full time.
Okay.
And then you have some amazing apartment buildings here where some people just they want to commute, they want to travel, and they might rent a nice apartment it's luxury living. You're not congested in a 40-story high rise. They're 2-story buildings. And, so that it's a mix. The one segment that is really, really slammed is that over 55 community. I mean, that stuff that seems where a lot of people sell the 350 to 550 house and they're going in the over 55 community. So that's probably your biggest segment where you see those people going.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I didn't really ask this before, and I don't really know, and I'd love your opinion. I know before this whole thing all started, there was a big backlog and actually waiting lists for some of these apartments that we're having here in Marlton. Has this changed any of that? Have you talked to any of the guys that are developing? I mean,
I was talking to Bob Meyer, that's who we rent from here to our new facilities done.
Yep.
And all of our rental stuff has all been rented.
Really?
So I don't think it's an area. I think the apartment buildings here are a little different because if you want to take the steps, you could take the steps and go down the building. If you want to go for a walk and go, there's a lot more open space.
Mm-hmm.
I think people aren't as bothered about this. And a lot of the tenants that are in these buildings, they have secondary homes too. I mean, the makeup of the tenant that I see in these buildings, it's the single millennial. This building consists of 24 units. Only one of the apartments has a child that I have seen.
Okay.
And they walk in my window 59 times a day, so I see them. And it just so happens that the unit above my office has the child. I can tell because he runs around a lot. I can hear his footsteps when I'm in here. He gets a little ornery around 10:30 in the morning and running around. But that makeup they've been pretty fortunate. So I haven't seen that. Now there's that new building that's coming into play at the Renaissance.
Yeah.
And I have not seen any marketing. I've called 3 or 4 times for information.
Mhm.
That's a little higher end rental. That's 1,900 to
Okay.
2,500. The one thing I did talk about in our office meeting for our sales force today was the prices of rentals locally.
Mhm.
I think have jumped about 30% in the last 2 years.
It's
The
unbelievable.
rent up. So that shows you quite a bit of demand. The things that we were renting for 14, they're renting for 17.
That's
Okay.
unbelievable.
Yeah, 17, 18. It's amazing. So,
I
I
guess
mean, it's show you people want to be in the communities around here. So it's a good quality of life.
well, then we also need to let them know that with a small down payment, they could possibly be paying even less to own a home. So
Correct.
that's
Correct.
that's our job to get that information out there. So if any of you are listening, reach out and we'll do a rent versus buy analysis for you, so that you can see that while you may be able to rent this place, you could possibly do it by working some different programs, and we might be able to get you into a property and have you buy something for less than renting. So
That might be a good idea for our next forum too.
yeah,
I can bring some townhouses or some single families
sure.
that are out there that you might see, and
Mhm.
then you could show us, hey, this is what I need to
Yeah.
get in the door, and this is where your payment is. Yeah, that's a good object. That's a
Yeah.
good subject we can do there. It's good.
Absolutely. And real quick, if there's anybody out there, my company actually has an operations base. One of our operations bases is actually down in Puerto Rico, and one of the gentlemen down there actually has a distributor, and he actually built out face shields. And as a company, we're actually going to be giving them away. So if any first responders, anybody working in any areas would like them, please let me know. I'm supposed to be getting some boxes of them in the next week or so, and I'd love to be able to drop them off to you guys, because I'm sure there's people out there who need them. And we got to all be safe as this thing opens up, and let's make sure it doesn't start back up again. Let's keep it safe, and we can keep things rocking and rolling here. So cool.
Awesome.
Any
Another,
last things you got for us, or you want to?
another great call, Jeff. Just any questions anybody has, either contact Jeff or myself.
Yep.
And what you're going to hear is you're going to hear a straight answer of what's actually happening in the market, not some nonsense, and you'll get good professional advice from two people who are out there every day pounding the pavement.
Absolutely. And guys, if you do need to reach out and you want to talk to Mark's contact information is running here below, right down. So you got his phone number. Call him and text him. And I'll throw mine up there real quick too. There's mine. You can feel free. That reaches my team line. That'll reach me and all the guys on my team. So feel free to reach out. We're happy to help you guys. And as always, Mark, thank you very much. And
Nice job. You got it.
everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend, and try to be safe out there. And maybe we'll come back next week and we'll bring some different people and some different ideas to show you guys all. So thanks so much.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy.
All right.
See you.
See ya.